What's a good word, everyone? It's your boy DKB here. I just want to say thanks for all the support. The channel's been steadily growing, and the number you see below, you can drop a text, shoot a voicemail, any ideas, topics, collabs, etc. you guys want to see. I'll include them in future videos and live streams, and I'll catch you again. Be easy. What's a good word, Jets fans? It's your boy DKB here. We're going to talk about our final New York Jets 2024 draft pick. Technically, Jalen Key's no longer in the team, so we won't get into him, but cornerback Qwan'tez Stiggers. We picked him up in the fifth round, 176th overall, and this really was my favorite player from that draft class, just in terms of day three picks or guys that potentially would have been in the day two conversation. Stiggers stands out, not just from an emotional standpoint, he stands out skill set wise. We all know the story by now, him not playing for a number of years before getting introduced to the Fan Control Football League and then making his way to the CFL, where he became one of their top players. I believe actually earning Defensive Player of the Year accolades for them and parlaying that into a draft opportunity with the Jets here. So, coming from my background as a DB guy, I absolutely fell in love with this guy, and I'm rooting for him all the way. And even in what you can consider a bit of a lost season, right? Just because he hasn't been able to see the field a ton in play. And that is 100% based on who he had ahead of him. Brandon Eccles, who's really that established key reserve player for us. But then MC2, who's not going anywhere as one of the best slot corners in the league. DJ Reed, one of the best number twos that you're going to find, and probably a number one on a good amount of other teams. And then, of course, the all pro Sauce Gardner. So there wasn't going to be, outside of injury, any real opportunity for him to get on the field. And that was probably the best thing that really could have happened for him as well, just as he gets acclimated to NFL rules compared to what he was doing to the CFL, gets acclimated to a change in field, right? Not just textures and turf and all that kind of stuff, but the actual physical dimensions of the field, going from, again, Fan Control Football League to CFL to the NFL. You're talking the combine circuit and all that good stuff like pro days as well. He'll probably be remembered for his rookie year for more memorable quotes and moments than anything that really stood out on the field. Wrapped up his regular season, 14 games, started once due to the injury to DJ Reed late in the year, 7 tackles, played 49 snaps on defense, which was good for 5%, and mostly made his bones in special teams as he played 215 snaps, which is about 61% of the time. Now, if he ends up looking a little crazy next year, is mostly going to be because he told us he didn't plan on cutting his hair until the Jets won a Super Bowl. So I will take him being homeless if it means that we get to see a ring and he's a key contributor in that. Funny situation either way. One of the things that we got to hear very early, though, is that Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich weren't necessarily. That's not true. Let me walk this back a bit. Robert and Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich were fair enough in their evaluation of a lot of our players. I think too much in certain elements, such as Michael Clemens and some of the effusive praise that he got, although that didn't really reflect on the field. I can remember them calling out Solomon Thomas, for example, as another guy that's just kind of doing all the right things, but you're not really getting that same production on the field. So there was a little bit too much of kind of catering to the players or trying to stroke the ego, if you will, but they knew defensive talent. Hence, all of the players that we've seen that were able to either bounce back or outperform expectations or rebound from, terrible situations previously and really take huge developmental leaps, not just little baby steps here. So when Salah mentioned that he immediately knew after training camp that they had an NFL caliber cornerback on the roster, they just needed to determine if he was a starter, my ears perked up. And I think you'll see he's looking to definitely make the case in 2025 for it. In fact, part of his exit interviews that they did towards the end of the year, he specifically mentioned that himself. His goal is to be starting, and he fully expects to start as a cornerback in 2025 for the Jets. We'll see how that pans out between free agency. You talk about Will Johnson being an option at the 7th overall pick, but if this ends up being a meritocracy, and I really hope it is, if he beats out a top draft pick, I'm not going to cry over spoiled milk. So we'll have to. It's something I'll be pretty in tune with as we start getting into free agents, is as we see where we might end up looking directional wise in the draft. He did get his first start late in the season against the Jaguars, and he showed what all of that patience, what all of that ability to develop it and refine his technique was. And one of the things that I really appreciated was the fact that throughout the year, whether it was OTAs, whether it was rookie minicamp, whether it was training camp, whether it was just kind of check-in interviews over the course of the regular season, players, himself, and coaches alike highlighted he is consistently in somebody's ear, whether it's directly after the play, directly after practice, directly after the game, about what he can do to improve. DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, Robert Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich is some of those key proponents that has really kind of helped him excel to various points in his first start here. And he also highlighted Chuck Clark as another guy that, from an injury perspective, what it means to kind of cherish all the opportunities he's going to see as another focal point. But in that Jaguars game, he at least graded himself out as one of the top 10 players from that week. 77.4 run defense grade and a 66.3 pass defense grade. I believe he only allowed one reception on 3 targets in that game, although it was for like a 29-yard game to Parker Washington, if I recall. But this was a guy that you can see made tangible improvements from what you got to see from a film perspective in the CFL to him acclimating to NFL cornerback techniques. And we can't forget, this isn't a guy that has trained himself in the classic sense of a player that's gone from high school to college to the NFL and then working with various levels of pros or college type players. He skipped that entire phase and went to a alternative pro league in the CFL, and they're going to operate in an entire different capacity. So he's really being built from the ground up as this ball of clay, and I couldn't be more than happy for him. So again, I'm really hoping he can find himself a way to earn a starting opportunity. That would be huge for him. Also big for the Jets, though, because you talk about him signing maybe like a $4.2 million contract or something along those lines as a rookie. You're going to be seeing a ton of savings here if you can get starting level production out of him for the next 2 to 3 years before having to talk about a serious contract extension. But this is a feel good moment, a feel good player, somebody that you could really get behind. You've seen during all of the draft recap videos and stuff. This was a player that an organization feels like he could really galvanize around. If he can make the production match the emotional feelings, you have a high quality player here. So let me know what you guys think about Qwan'tez. I'm looking forward to seeing him a lot more next year, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.